Aloha, Netianandam. Welcome to day 6 of the 25 days force majeure Christmas. And today I want to cover going more into depth in some of the things that have been coming up in the what I'm being shown to share today. So I'm 4th generation Japanese. I'm actually mixed, but Japanese, in Hawaii. And one of the things that was shared with me or revealed to me that I didn't know, because all of us just kind of growing up, right? All of that history is not what it is right now, but it is. So I'm finding out these things, and the reason why the Japanese were here, Japanese were hired for the plantation work. So we're talking about hierarchy, right? Essentially, whether it's in different parts of the planet, all of those hierarchies. And there were agreements by the ruling class between Hawaii Kingdom and Japan and other countries. And with the Japanese, they were brought over for manual labor, plantation work, this, that, based off of those treaties. Those are opportunities, and even now, due to the high pressure of Japanese society because of the direction the rest of humanity is going towards, and their high rate of suicide due to their indoctrination and boxing and caging people to perform. Those who don't make the snuff over there to save face, for those who have better means, they come to Hawaii. There's that also. So I find out that the Japanese were brought here for the labor force. Back then, to maintain the disparity and the hierarchical constructs, they used the language barrier. So they imported other races to do the management. And of course, when it comes to direct enslavement, they use everything. Terroristic threatening, all these narcissistic strategies to maintain their posture. So, when listening to people and their word choices and their posturing, because all of this is not just in the DNA, but that can be bypassed with consciousness and your heart, right? What kind of heart do you have? Are you a person who is enslavement based or empowerment, liberty, moksha based? There's only those two kinds of people on planet Earth, no matter your background, you can use political national status, you can use race, you can use any one of those, it doesn't matter. So, before I go forward on that note, I've been kind of thinking, because I'm starting my own sampradaya, and every tradition has their own prayer before they start connecting, right, to bring into that oneness or bring everybody into that vibe. And what ended up happening is I was just like, I'll just do how I do my initiations, right? I initiate 100% success rate. for power manifestation, particularly what I do, because this baseline is consciousness over matter, or what Western society calls as telekinesis. So in my initiations that I do, because I'm very inclusive, I don't insert myself between anybody and who they call upon as God, whatever name that is. And so I decided that I will do the same. So let's come to that oneness together so that there is a mutual understanding with we in dialogue to evolve for global peace or cosmic peace, peace in the whole cosmos. So put who you call upon as God in your visualization or your third eye, and drop into that prayer space. Say whatever prayers that you pray to invoke that oneness or that connection. For me, I choose silence. Okay, so upon learning that the Japanese were brought in and the way in which that came about for the many different cultures here, that's really enslavement, bottom line, because it wasn't by choice. It wasn't. It's manufactured consent, which I completely disagree about. And it gets very interesting, the levels of sensitivity that I get to and the task I'm assigned on the cosmic level. And because I have no I, and I'm very playful, and I like to mix and match, and right, which is that God particle in me. So what does that have to do with this discussion with force majeure? Because those who are seeking and start looking at things and mapping, if you map and see the connections, right? So, for example, one of the things that is coming out is that the U.S. police force, and I would even say possibly FEMA and TSA, but it's the report is on the police force, are doing training in Palestine. Isn't that interesting? So all of these pieces that I'm gathering actually support my deductive reasoning and conclusions that, treaties are contracts, finally coming out and saying, and if you look in the description, I put in a link to the WHO, World Health Organization, and their pandemic treaty. I also included the link to their PDF, so you can read through it yourself as well. But they can make a pandemic treaty, but not a global peace treaty. So what is the war actually upon, right? What is terrorism? Terrorism is anybody who is believing in hierarchy. That feeds the ego. It strokes the ego. I'm better than this person or whatever, right? Even pay higher or whatever, when we are all God's children, cosmos children. We are all Paramashiva, where time is life, not money, and it should be a one-for-one trade. Should be. So, because treaties and this and that is all maritime law, and they use contracts. These are colonizers' mental setups. Those are thought currents. There are peoples, earth peoples, who've been subjected by genocide and mass murders, mass graves, modern one, Lahaina. Their thought currents and thought patterns are possibly more sophisticated than the basic lording over other people, self-righteous justifications. Then there's the confusions of different things due to blind spots, right? But the World Health Organization, China, the West, they're supposedly at war. Bill Gates is in there with this whole pandemic treaty, a global rollout of policy, right? So you've got those three aspects of that. So what is this war really on, right? As well as, since Bill Gates is pushing vaccines, create, manufacture vaccines, and has been actively purchasing farmland. So all of this is commerce, including nations, countries. Countries are commerce. That's why they have a Dun and Bradstreet number, right? So they're using commerce, maritime law, corporations. So technically, everyone, literally, can have their own country and be sovereign, self-governed onto themselves. Technically. Because that's the direction I'm going. Smallest right to defend is that of the individual. And I'm sure a vast majority of people would like that. Well, there's most who worship the chains. Yeah. Or like the boot on their neck. So this force majeure is some would say, is a military strategy or thing. But what I find really interesting, specifically where my feet are, what I'm trying to contribute for the whole of humanity, not one vested interest group, because I'm not about that. I don't take sides, even with Kailasa. And in that WHO video, China doesn't recognize Taiwan, right? Of course not. Just like US doesn't recognize Hawaii Kingdom, but it exists. same way Kailasa exists with a permanent population. Right? They're saying, well, where does it exist now? And that's the thing. Kailasa has multiple sovereign land with permanent population, and to not want to, and they don't have to disclose their location, otherwise it'll be like a whole Gaza situation. And then what are they gonna do? Use the US and train there too? Who knows at this point? Right? Possibility. But that doesn't mean that the truth should not be shared and said. That's why I'm talking to even Swamiji. Full disclosure on the legal constructs. Okay? Because if you ain't gonna do it, I'm over here, I'm gonna do it. Fine. Gotta do them from scratch. Somebody gotta do it. Right? Otherwise, you got all this misinformation and you're gonna just keep on doing some kind of circus show and nobody's being straight. Because they have their vested interests to enslave others. I ain't about that. So, with the force majeure can be used by anybody, whether you're naughty or nice. Now, just remember, if you are naughty and you're going to use the force majeure, right? Here, if your feet are here in Hawaii, and it really doesn't matter where, because this force majeure can work anywhere in the world that has war, because this is international law. If you are naughty and you're going to be using force majeure as your strategy in Hawaii, you're going to get deported. Wherever you're going to get deported, they will judge you also based off of their laws. Hawaii Kingdom is in martial law, even though their law is suspended. They do have repercussions for criminal activity. So because I fully trust the cosmos and society for the right thing of due process, that's personal responsibility. So yes, I encourage everyone to use force majeure, because now what I find really interesting is in the laws of war, which the US wrote, or their version, or whatever, in there, in the laws of war, why is it that the attacker, the invader, entrusted with the military government? I don't know. I mean, just even with that, that's why I'm like, humanitarian law is written by some guy with mind-numbing crap filled with hypocrisies. Like this one. Gets hard. And with the because we're talking about maritime law, commerce, contracts, treaties are contracts. And it's technically, because it's a colonizer's construct, it's like bait and switch, right? Bait, get in there, switch, and do the dirties, right? So I find that very interesting. So Hawaii Kingdom is in martial law, but the U.S. is not. Now, how do we invite or extend or communicate to the U.S., which has had a long time, even since 1993 with the Apology Bill, right? They have not started their martial law process. So with all of these different next level breakthroughs, PUKA throughs, whatever you want to call it, the last one was with Colonel Lilikoi gaining the declaration of state of war, the war pin, the Operation Exodus to put the flag or knock on the CIA bunker underground thing on the Mauna. But the next PUKA through is to get the U.S. to instill martial law so that peace treaty can be signed. The situation with Hawaii is because it's in martial law and there is no mo'i or king or queen, because it's a constitutional monarchy. Thus, a voting has to be had before the mo'i can be put in place, and in order for it to do that, martial law has to be lifted. It can't. So I grasp, and I'm not taking any sides of any faction, and I'm trying my best to help save face with the dynamic range of individuals claiming to be king. I'm a third party, none of my business, but it does become an issue when certain factions involve internationally as well as involve Kailasa in their activities, stories, or whatever you want to call it. I don't even know what the word is. So, and the thing is that for me, what am I doing? The words finally came. Investigative mediation, because I ain't journaling. That's not the position or the platform I'm standing on, or one of them, or one of the departments of within what I'm doing. So because Hawaii Kingdom is in martial law, the U.S. has to also be in martial law. Why? Because it's belligerent, one side against the other. So that needs to get straightened out. So how is it? How do we do this? Because Hawaii Kingdom itself has been, including Keanusai, Leonsu, Matt, Kaho'opi'i, I'm sure Norman, Keana Aina, I'm sure different individuals have been connecting with and trying to inspire, negotiate for things to start moving forward with feet dragging all the way and total disrespect and the circus show that's going on through the Pai'aina of everything, including Maui, including this island here, all of it. They're dragging their feet. But force majeure is a claim anybody can make. Anybody. So the next PUKA through is a successful force majeure case bringing in an immigration center. So the thing is when I say anybody, I mean anybody. You can be American, you can be Chinese, you can be Russian, you can be Palestinian, you can be anybody to make that next PUKA through for this to happen. To encourage the U.S. to call martial law for their side of this conflict. or misunderstanding. I'm going to say it's a misunderstanding. Confusion. Because essentially that's what it is. It was civilians, businessmen, American businessmen, crying wolf, and with the Blunt report and President Grover Cleveland being like, yeah, give it back. It was restored, but you have other vested interests still strong-arming the land theft, because it's all about land. Even with America still being at war with Britain, and Britain is winning, right? Boston Tea Party still going on. Civil War still going on. Why is British winning? British accredited regency, their laws, their side. There's the We the People side, their side. But those two sides are going to get together to go against the Native Americans who they took the land from, and they know it. Same. Everybody on the continental U.S., even Canada, get blood title on their hands because of broken treaties, the bait and switch action of those people and their mental setup. That's their logic. Whatever logic that is. So, anybody can use force majeure, because force majeure, we're talking about contracts. We're talking about birth certificates or contracts. Tickets. TMK real estate. Insurance. All of that. Contracts working. W.H.Os. The infrastructure of those things that shouldn't even be here. Contracts. All are null and void in force majeure. Force majeure can be claimed by acts of God or natural disasters or occupation war. 9/11, how they handled their issues there was force majeure as well. So, and that's why I'm saying globally, anybody, but I'm talking about here where my feet are, anybody. I don't care who you are, you can use force majeure, civilian or not. It doesn't matter, because your rights are not being protected, whatever rights that is, because at this point, when reading all of that, there is no rights. Rights of chattel that's going for slaughter? That's why I'm saying the things that I'm saying. And those who have the mental setup of enslaving others, posturing for their own I'm better than others, I sniff them out really quick because they can't handle what the words coming out of my mouth. So when I say anybody, I mean anybody. But the thing is if you are naughty, there are repercussions. Take full personal responsibility for that, whatever you did. So, with force majeure, to get things pono and righteous here where we live, there must be immigration for every country. So that's some of the things that become your responsibility when you are going to take this on. It's everybody's responsibility anyway. But the next PUKA through, whoever is more motivated for this next PUKA through is going to make it happen. Because what do we need? We need the U.S. military to bring in martial law, bring in their immigration, and sort through all of that. The thing is when it comes to signing of the peace treaty and the way that it's all like whatever, I think the fair thing to do, because everybody is doing their part, whoever is there should sign it, like the Constitution, because they're gonna agree to whatever that is. It's none of my business. So that's why I'm saying Hawaiian-American Peace Treaty can be the platform for a global peace treaty, because the way all of it is connected. Otherwise, it's like a waste of time. And like for me, I'm like, the next one is Moksha Peace Treaty, self-governed individual sovereigns, people who are their own king, queen, god, goddess, as we're meant to be. Too many people inserting themselves between others and God and imposing their connection as the only means by which other people connect. And we all know that people have different learning ways. That's one way to kind of share on that perspective. So I grasp some of the things that I'm saying can be quite intense, and for those who are not seeking and taking up the responsibilities that I'm choosing to sign up to every day and do that grind, no pay, food donation only, not for trade. For years, no bank account, no 501c3, no this, that other people use, do, or whatever. And so they will have blind spots and miss a lot of things due to those blind spots and vested interests, because they're trying to maintain whatever structure that they're doing. And I get it. But for me, I'm tired of rebuilding, redoing, and whatever. So it has to come like down to the baseline. So for me, in full exercise of my right, my own sampradaya, which I have a right to, and I advocate women should be able to have their own too, because why? All posterity is from women, otherwise you don't have kids. Why do you think ladies, what are we perpetuating? You go think about that. What are we perpetuating? Was going to be doing a side-by-side comparison, but you know, you can't do that. That's not right. That's just like why people are afraid of AI. Or in the beginning, the sewing machine. You have to sew by hand versus the sewing machine, and you're an OCD perfectionist. Yeah, and God is an artist. Cosmos is an artist, not an industrial manufacturer. Cookie cutter. Same. No, that's not how it is. I will say this. Just really listen to the sounds that come out of mouths and find what they're enamored with. You're going to be perpetuating that. Yeah, no. So, yeah. So again, force majeure need to get the U.S. to bring in martial law. I don't know why they're the ones interested with the military government. Just like everything else I'm finding about the UN, it's all I'm saying that, you know, in the memorandum, strange form of occupation, it wasn't clearly stated. Occupation is war. Here's the laws of war. And it should have been known. And the thing is I'm finding globally nobody knows this, including humanitarian, peacekeeping, NGOs, or whatever. Even the policies. Education policies is all posturing to disempower parents, especially mothers, for them to raise their hands and just be like, here, take my kids because I'm not capable. No. And then what they do with their education is they will mimic stuff that they will learn at home, minus the love, patience, hands-on of the mother. Right? And then all of that is for corporations, because before it was families governed themselves. They had the community tribe for whatever, handling disagreements, kind of like parent-teacher associations, right? They governed themselves. And each family specialized in something that they contributed or that they enjoyed to do. And they had their own, because without financial freedom, there's no personal liberty. So they had their own way to small business. But with the way that it's been restructured, it's for removing the independence and sustainability of families for corporations. And they say the greater good, but it's not. Look at how decimated everything is. People don't even take care of their own space because they're getting pulled to go do something else. Earth peoples. Yeah. Where does the rubber meet the road on that? And the legalities, right? Because spirituality is a subjective experience. Can't tell anybody else what they should be experiencing or what their seeking is or what their prayer is, and then what Paramashiva, God, Goddess, whoever you're calling upon to lead you through whatever you are going through, just like me, right? I get shown what to do, including, right, this. That just kind of comes. It just comes. And because I don't take anything seriously, including myself, right? I can walk through some burns other people cannot because they're too high maka with some kind of imagination of what everything's supposed to be, when in fact it is what it is. And I love Paramashiva Cosmos' sense of humor, right? And if it isn't cheek and belly aching funny, it ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. And far too many people taking things far too seriously, especially themselves, when their one life is less than a cricket fart in a tornado on the timeline of eternity. Literally. So it gets very difficult talking about how this topic lightly to inspire people to wake up. They're just parading it around, the use and abuse of people, experimenting, science, torture, human trafficking, babies stealing, pedophiles. Yeah. What do you do? I don't know. keep praying, keep getting shown, this is what I gotta do. I'm gonna go to bat. Come what may, however, whatever is gonna happen, it's gonna happen. Whatever is going on, is going on. My now gets pulled to go and see stuff. Why? Divinely led. I see stuff because I show up. And when I show up, I'm like, why am I here? I don't know. Then things get shown to me. And it's just like, whoa. It's real interesting. Right? For me, what do I want? I want to be my own sovereign, self-governed sovereign of ship of my own family. I'm not trying to whatever. And that's what all of this is about. Right? They use their printing money, getting people to come together to live in a location for some hierarchical things. Now, there are people who enjoy that because that's what they enjoy. But that's not me. And my right to exist is a right. And because I'm completely open architecture, completely inclusive, vast majority of people aren't used to that. And I will see the aneurysm happen, go in their brain. Why? Because I'm playful. Very playful. I don't take too much of anything seriously. You know why? Because next moment, things can change. Why? Quantum quirking. Quantum quirks happen. That's cosmic law. So, treaties are contracts, broken treaties, broken contracts. Force majeure makes all contracts null and void. This is the other side of this here, which is WHO, World Health Organization, Pandemic Treaty proves my deductive reasoning. Global Peace Treaty is actual and factual humanitarian law. They're not wanting to do it. Who is they? Oh, your leaders. Why? Because they enjoy the hierarchy. They enjoy watching people suffer because of them. That's why even for me, I say, yeah, it might be radical to say, no, don't feed people, give them land. People are okay with that. Oh, give a fish feed for a day, teach the fish feed for a lifetime. Give land, they're going to take care of their posterity. Why is that not happening? Right? Why aren't women able to? Because we're just talking about corporations, and whether you make a business or a corporation, it's just paperwork, check boxes, right? If everything, time is life, and everything was 1 for 1, 1 hour for 1 hour, everybody should be able to have their own currency. Just saying, throwing it out there. That's why I'm saying global peace treaty, global bureau of conveyance. Once there's a global bureau of conveyance, and the thing is looking at this, isn't Switzerland or whatever, The Hague or whatever, doing that? Possibly not. I've heard an excuse that it's not possible for men to be peaceful together. Well, that's men, obviously. Maybe women should run the world. We make sure everybody's fed and taken care of. We don't have a choice in the Russian roulette that comes out. That's why for me, in my sampradaya, which is a vibe tribe, if you are in that vibe tribe of what I am saying, Mothers to initiate third eye and kundalini. Child can pick up whatever they're going to pick up. That Russian roulette of genetic merging, that's what's going to happen. That's why I think a lot of the ancient cultures, when there were conflicts, they would resolve it with marriage. To be like, well, chill out. Now, I'm not against arranged, I am very much against arranged marriage, because that's arranged rape, and always women are being raped to have kids, whether they want them or not. And then that treats the kids how based off of that. There's a big difference. So this is the thing too. What story are you having kids with, and what story are you going to tell them? Ideally, and we should strive for it. I'm in that boat too. Should strive for it. I fell in love and wanted to have children. There's a big difference in how that mother will love and take care of that child. Even the tolerances of their screaming and crying and behavioral issues to teach and correct. Very different. What are we perpetuating? What are we doing? What are we perpetuating? Redefine slavery. Everybody should own an acre of land. Just like the air, water, food, clothing, shelter should be free, so should land. Because if there's a landlord, the construct is a slavery construct built in. And it's not just one slave, it's a gang rape. With all these people with their hand out for money for a place you're hardly ever at, and the ones who always get attacked, always on a daily basis, en masse, are women and children. With whatever spectrum of whatever, some self-righteous justification of landlords thinking that they get something. Right? Now we got all kinds of countries. Slumlord over here, slumlord over there, jigaboo slumlord over there, whatever, right? I've been shown all kinds of things, and this is where the thing is with the internet, you can see a lot of things, and that's why I decided not to do a side-by-side comparison of different countries, because just like the whole fear of AI, right? The time gap of behavior pattern, which is really a war against God, war against the cosmos, and that's not right. Because everybody is growing and maturing on the timeline of eternity, because that's how consciousness grows. Consciousness grows on the timeline of eternity, not one life. And with that, that's an enlightened perspective to view things and lens to view things from. Then you have all these other religious fanatics trying to lord over their way of connection instead of allowing an organic connection that happens. Why is that? Because they've been abused that way as well. That's why I'm going about things the way that I am, from deep seeking. So it's interesting the things that I got shown today. I will say it's, you know, continuously sitting, because for me, I will always sit with Paramashiva in that deep connection. You could say multidimensionally travel. For my seeking, what is the answer? And then the tidal wave, and it's like, okay, you gotta digest this, right? And that gets interesting because, like, with Dakshinamurti and the downloads that he gives, right? Petabytes and petabytes. And having the inner space to be able to just scan and, yeah. So, yeah. And that's how I'm here. So until people, even in the modern day, stop being enamored with self-righteous, grandiose ideologies of lording over on others, particularly those who are liberated beings like myself, will be a very interesting mirror to reflect on here. Because no, we are all children of God. We are all Paramashiva. You, me, we are all Paramashiva. However way you want to, child of the cosmos, however way you want to say that. And based off of, because it's a multidimensional reality, and those dimensions are frequencies. And based off of who you are calling upon or tuning into as God, you will be in that frequency, even though Buloka, or this earth, will be like that. You're going to be in a different flow. That's why I flow the way I flow. My flow is not anybody else's flow. I get it. That's the best way I can explain it. Things just come. So, I think I'm done for today's day 6 of the 25 days of force majeure Christmas. Please understand, everybody, because I'm operating with full personal responsibility, because time and time again, nobody is ever going to be there. They will jump ship, abandon, leave, whatever, at every stage, right? Doesn't matter what it is. So there's a lot of times people will posture, but the real backbone is integrity and follow through no matter what. That's integrity. So yeah, force majeure, whether you're naughty or nice, all contracts are null and void. There are repercussions for your choices, always. Not just repercussions, but because of the way that I've experienced thus far and what I am saying, have been only saying support for my personal liberty, because I will question people and their enslavement heart, and if they don't cognize it. They're not going to like my light. My light burns. Pretty intense because it burns me too. You get clearer and clearer and clearer, having to drop, 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 constant dropping. Unclutching. Vested interests. Whatever it is. Each person's one is different. What their drivers are, what their baggage is. Incompletions. Whatever, whatever, whatever. Right? So I will end with this. Like I said before. Is it intelligent to go into college debt slavery, to pledge allegiance to the bar, British accredited regency, pledge allegiance to Britain, to practice American law in Hawaii Kingdom during occupation war? Think about that. From that perspective, iron out the things that you, or go back to things that you thought are true. Because from a different perspective, it's going to look very different. Very different. So let's close with a prayer for peace. Peace for you, peace for me, global peace. Put your Creator, who you call upon as God, in your third eye or your visualization. If you have closing prayers, you're welcome to say them. Again, for me, I prefer silence. Deep listening. Have a good evening. Aloha. Nityanandam.